Hello, my name is Ann, and welcome to our Lifting Us Up in Liberty program. Now let's join our broadcast as Pastor Earl Wallace explains how the Bible applies to our personal and civic lives.
Here is what I believe God's Word reveals about gun control. In 1 Samuel 13, 19, and 22, we read how the enemies of God's people had instituted gun control to keep Israel enslaved. It reads, "Now there was no blacksmith to be found throughout all the land of Israel, for the Philistines said, lest the Hebrews make themselves swords or spears. So on the day of the battle, there was neither sword nor spear found in the hand of any of the people with Saul and Jonathan, but Saul and Jonathan, his son, had them." Today's gun manufacturers are the modern-day blacksmiths that made weapons during biblical times. America's founding fathers understood how evil people seek to control those who want to live by God's laws and would deploy this age-old tactic of instituting gun control. America's founding fathers realized that when God recorded 10 Commandment number 6 in Exodus 20:13 and in Deuteronomy 5:17, which says, "You shall not commit murder," that God is saying we all have a right to not be murdered. Thus they gave us the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, the right to bear arms, so we can defend ourselves from being murdered and have our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness attempted to be taken away from us by murdering us. In Luke 22:36 and 38, Jesus said, "And let the one who has no sword sell his cloak and buy one." And they said, "Look, Lord, here are 2 swords." And he said to them, "It is enough." Now Jesus did not want those swords used to defend him on the night of his arrest, which was part of the process of his crucifixion, because his mission was to come to earth specifically to die for the sins of the world. What this verse communicates is that there is going to come a time when we indeed will need to defend ourselves by using a sword or a gun or whatever the modern weaponry of the day is. Gun control advocates include agents of the New World Order, who are evil people who are giving themselves over to the satanic drive to establish the governmental systems that will perpetuate the mass destruction of human life we read about in Revelation. These people work through our education, government, and media institutions to convince us it is righteous to advocate for gun control. These globalists would like to see all sovereign governments broken down and rolled into a transnational totalitarian one-world system ruled by unelected people, such as those who work in the UN. Are we disregarding how God dispersed us into separate people groups and nations in Genesis 10 because he did not want earthly power consolidated into the hands of Nimrod and the few ruthless sinners who always are conspiring and grasping to gain such power and control? Our challenge is we must resist global scare tactics to remain as the free sovereign nations the Lord gave us a fighting chance to maintain in Genesis chapter 10. If we can be scared into believing the global environment is so bad and that the global war on terror is so difficult to deal with, we will accept their solution that all nations must yield up their independent sovereignties and militaries to transnational institutions like the UN or the European Union or whatever scheme they come up with next. These schemes advocate disarming the citizens of the individual countries, leaving only the global organization's army in possession of all weapons. Trust me, once they have control of most or nearly all weapons, they will not be beating them in the plowshares, but instead we will be forced to deny our liberty.
Thank you for listening. We hope you will join us in fulfilling 2 Chronicles 7:14 by repenting and turning to Christ so God saves your soul and heals our land. For more information about how the Bible applies to every aspect of our lives, including civics, visit us at libertycfchurch.org. Email us at office@libertycfchurch.org. Mail us at P.O. Box 235, Latham, New York 12110. Or call us at 518-545-7744. That's 518-545-7744.